Why does this look nothing like this? Hint, it's not the racket drop, the contact point, or pronation. Those are all symptoms of a much, much bigger problem that keeps everyday tennis players like you from generating real power. Last lesson, we talked about how pros like Federer use their torso as the main power source. The comments exploded with players asking for drills to fix it on the serve specifically. So today I'm going to walk you through exactly how to build full body power on the most important shot in tennis, step by step. The problem we're going to solve today is that most players think they're engaging the big, strong parts of their body on the serve, but the reality is they're not. Sadly, millions of players do most of the work on their serve with their arms without even realizing it. Let me show you what I mean. Here's Roger Federer in his trophy pose right next to an everyday player, which is super representative of the vast majority of tennis players out there. What makes a trophy pose is two different moves with the torso. Move number one is a turn, and what I mean by turn is the camera is directly behind Roger's position, but we can see the whole front of his chest. We can see all the writing on the front of his shirt. And the second part is a tilt. Look at how the angle of his shoulders is very vertical. This is because, unlike a ground stroke where the predominant amount of force with the torso is being transferred horizontally, on a serve, because we're making contact so high, we're creating a big turn with the body very vertically. And so the body is turning back, and then it's also tilting up to deliver all of that big energy from the torso. But look at our everyday player. He hasn't turned or tilted. His shoulders are level, his hips are level, and his body has not turned back towards the camera. So that means when he goes towards contact, ultimately he's going to end up looking very similar to Roger at the point of contact if you look at the angle of his body and the point of contact. But he's gotten there from a much, much, much weaker amount of force and power coming from the most important part of the body. Real quick, here's a side-by-side of the trophy pose of all the other everyday players that you saw during the introduction. No turn, no tilt. No turn, no tilt. No turn, no tilt. No turn, no tilt. A little bit of turn on this one, but no tilt. This is where all the power goes missing for everyday players. The biggest, strongest parts of the body never get loaded or aligned correctly. Then they try to mimic all these fancy swoops and swings and angles that the racket is supposed to make using their arms and hands, which is what results in so many jerky, clunky, awkward-looking service motions at your local courts. Most players are trying to swing the racket manually with their arm, independent of any significant power from their body, while the best players on your local courts are swinging with their body so their arms can stay loose, relaxed, and fluid. Before I show you the step-by-step drills to accomplish that, I really would like to know, what do you think you do on your serve? Do you turn or tilt? And how do you know? Let me know in the comments down below. Here's drill number one, to link the arms with the body and load and align the body properly. I like to call this the helicopter drill. R.I.P. mullet, by the way. It was a good run. So watch as I walk my student through this, and you're going to see a huge transformation in this student's serve. I'm going to turn with my arms connected to my body and then tilt. So this is phase number one of the helicopter drill. We need to link the arms together to the torso and then practice making about a 45-degree turn back. That's going to rotate the body and store tons of energy in the biggest, strongest parts of the body. Then the second part of phase one is to tilt by about 45 degrees. If you're right-handed, you're going to drop your right elbow down, and at the same time, your left elbow is going to come up. So going through this transition is critical to aligning and storing that big, smooth power in your body. Now, the second phase of the helicopter drill is to go into that turn and tilt position and then practice unwinding into a contact position. This is going to feel really weird and stiff, especially if you usually don't turn or tilt at all, which a lot of tennis players don't. Watch my student here. He does a great job doing the turn and tilt and then unwinding back forwards. And the unwinding, notice, is at an angle. Unlike ground strokes, we're not predominantly rotating horizontally forwards. We're pitching the body, aligning it up towards that high contact point, and then we need to be able to unwind the body in that direction up towards the point of contact. This is the engine behind all powerful smooth serves. And the helicopter drill helps you connect the arms with the body and get things moving correctly. Drill number 2 is simply going through some slow, smooth shadow swings after getting familiar with the helicopter drill. So what my student is doing now for the first time is having his body get turned and angled in the correct position, and then allowing his arms to smoothly, relaxed, come along for the ride while he unwinds that big storage of powerful energy from the torso. On the right is the trophy pose from one of these drill number 2 shadow swings, and on the left is my student's original serve before we started doing any of this training together. Look at how much more strong and athletic the position is on the right. Now he has turned, he has tilted, and I haven't talked, this is totally worth mentioning here, I haven't talked to him at all about his hips, I haven't talked to him at all about his knees, but he's naturally coming along for the ride with the rest of his body in order to properly turn and tilt into a strong athletic position. He's learning how to finally utilize his entire body, and then his arms are going to be able to smoothly come along for the ride. Drill number 3 is what I like to call fake tosses. You're going to see a shadow swing here from my student, and watch on the right side, you're going to see a ball fall down. I'm off the screen and I'm tossing a ball up in the air every time he goes through his shadow swing to challenge him and start to get him to learn how to coordinate and time his new swing with his body and his new swing with his arms. Now that his arms are relaxed and they're passive, they're coming along for the ride, he has to learn how to kind of retime things because he's making a much bigger turn, a much more powerful athletic rotation with his body. Now he's doing fake tosses on his own. So he is tossing the ball, not hitting it. And the purpose behind this, the reason for this, is so that he can put all of his mental energy, all of his attention just on coordinating and hitting all of these new positions with his body and with his arms. Before, and I'll show you before and after in a second, his arms were going in all kinds of different directions, doing all kinds of crazy stuff, while his body was just like locked in. It wasn't turning, it wasn't tilting, while his arms were doing all of these things, and he's learning basically from scratch how to coordinate all of this, and the fake tosses help create a stepping stone so that I'm not just handing him a ball and saying, okay, great, now hit your new serve. That would never work to change such a big, complicated habit like the serve. Drill 4 is now to start hitting the ball. And it's very important for me to point out, we didn't go right into hitting the ball after a couple of fake tosses. We did a lot of different combinations of slow, calm, smooth shadow swings, fake tosses where I tossed the ball, fake tosses where he tossed the ball to create stepping stones and progressions, and then finally some hits with the ball. And I want you to watch his motion right now. If you've watched a lot of tennis, you're gonna know the difference here. Watch the smoothness of his arms. These are all different swings, by the way. It's just a quick montage of all of his hits after doing this training. Watch how his body is turning and leading. Look at the angle that his shoulders and his torso get set in. And maybe most importantly, watch the smoothness and the fluidity of his racket, and watch the smoothness and the fluidity of how his arms are moving. There's a lot more improvements we can make here, but I just want you to contrast these couple of swings with these swings. This is his serve before. Watch how his arms are so clunky and there's like jagged edges and there's like starts and stops with his racket. It's not as fluid or smooth. That's because his body, if we freeze one of these, his body is not getting to a turned or tilted position. And so watch how his arms have to create all of these movements and swoops and like racket drop and like on edge and pronation and like he's trying to manually do all this stuff with his arms and his hands. And he would never be able to hit as, and by the way, he still got to a pretty good, pole position and racket drop position, even though his body wasn't doing what it was supposed to. But the efficiency was terrible because it wasn't actually connected with the most important thing, which is his torso. Follow these drills yourself, and I promise you'll unlock huge, smooth power on your serve. And if you'd like to apply that huge, smooth power towards a kick serve, make sure to click this lesson right here, where I'll show you my favorite step-by-step drills to develop huge amounts of topspin on your serve. Thanks for watching today. I'll talk to you in the next lesson.